Our dealer audience is watching right now. They've heard some news lately from our friends at the FTC. Something was supposed to happen with you guys and CDK Global, an acquisition that was supposed to take place. It was in the works for 11 months, but it didn't happen. Give us some more details on that, because we've heard it in the media, but we want to hear from you.
Okay. Well, it did start 11 months ago. We got into a contract with CDK to sell our company to CDK. The government said, not so fast. We got to take a look at the deal. And taking a look at the deal, what they spent 11 months investigating was the entire DMS market. They called hundreds and hundreds of dealers. They called consultants. They called third-party people. They called OEMs. I think they called my mother-in-law at one point.
They did.
I think they did that, too.
She had some good things to say about it.
Yeah, she did. And what they found is that they decided that Automate was too good of a competitor, a disruptor in the market, that we basically were the people keeping Reynolds and Reynolds and CDK in check, if you will, that we are the one provider who can move up market into the larger dealer groups and basically help the dealers save money. It seems that my employees are very happy about it. Nobody wants to be part of a big, larger company.
Right.
All of my customers are incredibly happy. My phone blew up. Our emails blew up. They were very happy that they weren't going to have to think about switching to CDK. The CPAs were happy. The OEMs were happy. I guess maybe the investors might be the only ones that weren't as happy.
We certainly know the lawyers were happy.
And the lawyers were very happy.
On every side.
On both sides.
On all sides.
Right.
FTC,
the lawyers were very happy.
CDK Global, and with Automate. Okay, so you talked about your employees, and obviously the dealers, they're the ones, those two groups matter the most. What did you say to them, and what did you say as far as what's next for Automate in 2018 and beyond?
The one thing that's interesting about this whole thing is that everybody looks at the Federal Trade Commission and says, well, they protect consumers, right? And these are only dealers. Well, no, the dealers, it doesn't matter how much money you are a consumer. They felt that if the pricing started to rise within the DMS market, it would affect dealers' profitability, which then affects the consumers. Okay, so all the dealers that we've talked to, all of our dealers are just happy it's not happening. I said our employees also are happy it's not happening. So what's next for Automate is we need to get back to business. We're, as we say in our advertising stuff, we're back, baby. We're here. We're going to be growing the company even bigger and larger than it was. We've got this great reference from the FTC telling us and telling the entire community that we are the next up and coming, and we are the guys that you should be talking to.
A backwards compliment.
A backwards compliment.
As they say,
a very expensive backwards compliment.
Very expensive.
But it's something that we look forward to growing the company, delivering the service and the software that we deliver now to our customers who we just won another driving sales award for top-rated DMS. So, it just keeps getting better.
All right, well, you mentioned DMS, so let's talk about that. One of the biggest objections that dealers have to switching to a new DMS is basically the conversion process. So my question for you, Mike, is converting all that data. We know that it's a huge job and can cause a lot of problems if it's not done properly. So let me ask you this. Can you tell us a little bit about how Automate makes that conversion process available or better or easier?
Sure. So, well, one of the things that I tell dealers, Joe, is that, converting a DMS is like a heart transplant. Now, we're going to rip the heart out of the dealership and put a new heart in. You don't do that, dealers realize you just don't go doing that every day, okay? So, and at the heart of it, the two things that are the most important assets in a dealership are your people and your data. And when we talk about data, it's being able to get all your data off of your existing system. Okay? And certainly I believe that at Automate we do the best data conversion out there. But it's more than just converting the data and the software. You really need to have somebody who in the dealership is the point of contact, so we understand what the data is, that we understand where you might be setting, how they might have set up their database so that we can make sure we get all the data. We always have a situation where we pull the data and then a couple of days later into the conversion, as we're installing, the office manager or the parts manager says, oh, I need this piece of data because I was using this as a special field. Okay, right. We go back, we get that type of thing. But the whole trick is really to just get all the data over so that the training goes well And our people who go in are all dealership people. We only use dealership people to do our training and our support. And they really drive that. They drive how we really need to get all the data, and we do.
You're a culture guy, a work culture guy, meaning that's the emphasis, because
Yes.
like you just said a minute ago, you have to have good people and a good data and good process and people using that data. So let's talk about this, because it's interesting, your perspective, how when you told your group, hey, listen, we're not going anywhere. It didn't happen, the acquisition. So I know you guys love that. So what do you tell dealers out there when you have a good work culture and you have great workers who do a great job? What's their reward? How does Automate and Mike Esposito reward the employees for doing a great job?
Right.
Because obviously the FTC thinks that your workers are doing a great job.
Right. So having run a dealership for 6 years, and the typical thing a dealer will think about is, if I'm going to reward my employee, I'm going to spiff them, right? We're going to spiff them. If you do this, I'll give you $100. If you do that. And to me, there are two types of rewards. There are if, then, now, that. If, then reward is if you do this, then you get that. Okay, versus a now that reward, which is now that you did this, I'll give you that. Okay, and there's a great book by a guy named Daniel Pink called Drive, and it's based on about 40 or 50 years of research that says if-then awards, carrot and stick, do not work. They're very, very demotivating versus now that. And when I talk about a now that reward, it might be, if, let's say, your boss got a call from Mike Esposito and said, I had an interview with Joe and he did a great job. Well, she could give you $50 or $100, but what might be better is to come in front of your peers and say, you did a great job with that Esposito interview. We really appreciate it. The viewers were happy with it. Well, how do you feel? You feel great, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. It's that type of reward you want to give people. Okay? It doesn't cost you a dime. It's just add a boy, add a girl.
Acknowledgement, right?
Acknowledgement. Yep. And people love to be acknowledged in front of their peers. Okay? So I talk to dealers a lot about that. If you get the call from Mrs. Jones on the she had a great experience on the service lane. Why wouldn't you go out to the service lane, talk to the people out there, and go, hey, you guys did a fabulous job? I mean, it just makes people feel good,
It does.
So it's a different mentality. The culture at Automate is different. It's employees, customers, and stockholders.
I like that.
Because if we don't have happy employees, you're not going to have happy customers.
No.
Okay? And we've talked, Joe, in the past, we've talked at different interviews about the customer experience, okay, and how you spend lots of money on, God knows, with all the software vendors here, for customer experience. But if I have somebody who hates their job and doesn't want to be there, and they're going to talk to a customer, that goes right down
Not
the
good.
dumper, right?
Yep.
So with us, it's our employees come first, and I have incredibly happy employees. Happier even today after the announcement.
Big smiles all around this booth.
Right.
Huge smiles.
Happier employees get me happy customers, which get me happy shareholders.
Yep.
So it's not a difficult equation. Tough to implement, but it's not a difficult equation.
That's why we like having him on. Mike Esposito, President and CEO of Automate. It's been a rough 11 months.
Yes,
but
it
has.
has.
You know what? You're smiling.
Yeah.
You look good. You have your health, and your team is behind you 100%. So thank you for coming on, describing that whole process to us. I know it took a toll on you, but like I said, you're here. You're smiling. The people love you at Automate. They don't want you to go anywhere. So thanks again.
And maybe the next time we'll just buy CDK.
Yes. Or
that works, right?
Or the other 3 letters, CBT.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
we'll do that. Hey, Mike, appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you for watching the official news source of the retail automotive industry, CBT News.